All right, yo, what's going on, guys? Freaked. Got a brand new video today. We got our video, the American soldier versus the British soldier. And today we have our special guest once again, Bangzo, representing the UK. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? I'm Bangzo. I'm a YouTuber as well, just like Freak. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. The United States is one of the greatest nations on earth. So I'm intrigued to like learn about the strength of their army, and also the British as well. Even though it's not at the level that it used to be at. But yeah, I'm definitely excited. To check out this video.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I know we're very vocal about how our military is, but I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be cool to see a lot of comparisons because I think the only other country that I've really looked into for like their military is like India, and it's so cool to see how vastly
Mm,
different each country is with their like different stuff and gadgets. But I'm really more looking forward to like the gadgets and stuff, like the technology and
yeah.
guns. I want to see how
Yeah.
similar they are.
And that's interesting that you mentioned the gadgets and the technology, because that's the most important thing. You can have a large army, but
Mm-hmm.
if your technology is outdated, you're gonna have an inferior army.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about
100%.
the equipment. The equipment is the most important thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So without further ado, let's get ahead and start the video.
25, and after a strange shift in geopolitics and world powers,
Oh,
the
so it's updated.
USA and the
2025. I
UK
like it.
have found themselves going to war with each other. These longtime allies that once fought side by side in World War II in Afghanistan have become arch enemies fighting for global dominance. The rest of the world looks on in horror. But who will win? There's one fact that's hard to ignore. One side is larger
It's
than
not
the
even a
other by
question.
a long way, the United States. Based on size alone, the US military is the clear winner. It boasts over 1.4 million personnel, compared with a measly 149,000 in the
Jesus
UK. But what does
Christ.
guarantee
No,
success
that's
if the whole
embarrassing, bro.
US Army consists of untrained airheads and
That's
idiots? But
embarrassing.
it doesn't hurt. Especially when
See, that's another point that they bring up is they
Yeah.
say that it might not bring success because what if the 1 million don't know how to shoot a gun and they're idiots, you
Yeah,
know? Like,
but that's not the case though. The U.S. Army are well trained,
oh
bro.
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah,
maybe
100%.
maybe if it was like an army in Africa, then then you could debate that, you
Hmm.
know. But the United States, they got well trained soldiers. They've got access to the best facilities, best equipment. So you know,
No, that's why I thought he was funny because he
that's
said if the U.S. was consist of untrained airheads and idiots, like
But
that'd
it
be
doesn't
yeah,
hurt,
hilarious.
especially when you
yeah.
consider the amount the US spends. The American military budget is a huge $740 billion
Oh
compared
my
with the
God.
UK's much smaller $49 billion. How cute. Money can't buy you everything in
Okay.
life, but it helps to win wars.
But
But
is
to
it
be
mocking the
fair,
he
UK,
might he
Americans
fam?
might
take
be a
their
little
military
biased, I
spending seriously.
think.
In
Yeah,
terms of
yeah. I think he's
GDP, the
definitely
USA
American.
spends 3.4% on the military, and the UK spends around 1.7%. That figure won't
About
help
the
the
same.
Brits win a war, but it's something they can nurse their national egos with. So far, things aren't looking good for the Brits. They've
And
been
that's the
outnumbered and
national ego.
outspent. Let's see if they can turn things around with their equipment. As they say, it's not all about the size, it's about how you use it. Which country has the
Okay.
best weapons, gadgets, and vehicles? If we're talking about
Mm,
quantities, the USA gets an easy win here, as you'd expect. They spend far more on the military overall, so of course, they have more stuff. The UK only has
yep.
227 tanks compared to the USA's 8,370. As for
This
armored
is not
vehicles, the
comparable, bro.
UK has
Yeah, that's
4,673 and the USA has
That's ridiculous.
41,760. Is the UK's lack of resources such a big deal? Experience shows us that yes, it is. During the Afghanistan conflict in 2007, the British Army stationed in the south of the country had been finding it increasingly difficult to maintain peace over the last 3 years because of their lack of
Mm.
equipment. Guess who had to sweep in to save them? The Americans. The U.S. Brigadier General Lawrence Nicholson brought in 4,000 Marines with a new approach. Go big, go strong, go fast. The new forces weren't exactly successful in maintaining peace, as anyone familiar with the Kandahar massacre and the Maywan
There's
district
no
murders will
peace.
know, but they were good at going big and going strong, which could give the U.S. an edge in battle. In Afghanistan, the British used a
See,
Jackal
that's what the
vehicle.
thing is that I think about all
Mm.
this like army is like, yeah, it's cool that we spend a whole bunch of money and like, but what he just brought up
Yeah.
was I don't remember that exact thing in 2009 that he was talking about, but how he was saying that the
Mm.
Brits needed help is I think as Americans think of, if we can provide this help, if we can do this to people, we like they can be scared of us. Is I think like I
Yeah.
think that's how I think
No,
U.S. is trying to come, which I don't know how I like about that approach, but that's what it
you know,
just seems, you know.
yeah. No, the problem with the United States is they don't mind their businesses, bro. They're always involved in war. Like, this is why there's been a campaign lately, put America first. A lot of the American citizens, they want America to focus on America.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, over the years, America is always focused on other people's problems.
Yeah.
And I think it's an ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
Americans, they've got a big ego. They want to be known as the big guys.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They always need to feel like they need to spend. And also, Freak, before you resume the video,
Mm-hmm.
that's why the Europeans have stopped spending on their military, bro, because they notice Americans want to do the work. They want to put in the work. They spend the most amount of money. So Europe thinks they don't have to, put in the effort because America are,
Can help you.
they are
Yeah.
putting in all exactly. America's gonna do the job. So why should we try
Yeah.
hard?
100%.
Why should
Yeah.
we put in the effort? So yeah.
That's a cool perspective.
which are designed for maneuverability rather than protecting the person inside. The Americans had MRAPs, or mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles. Although MRAP tanks are classified as light armored vehicles, they weigh a massive 14 to 18 tons and are a lot sturdier than the Jackals, designed to withstand the improvised explosive devices that threatened troops during the Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts.
What?
They were much more effective at keeping the troops safe from danger than anything
I didn't even know
the
that was
Brits
a
had.
thing. That's
However, the US
insane.
Marines
Just driving
Yeah.
over
plenty of
mines.
admiration for the Brits
Yeah.
and what they achieved despite their lack of equipment. So that's something. One American Marine commented, "The biggest thing I noticed was the vehicles they drive. You guys are friggin' gutsy. I wouldn't get shot at in one of those." Does having more flimsy vehicles make the British the weaker side, or just more badass? It depends on which way you look at it. Another difference between the British and US armies is their deployment of women on the front line. We don't want to say women are better or worse in the military than men, because that'd probably start a war in the comments section, so we'll let you decide, but it's definitely worth mentioning. In Afghanistan, the US Marines were shocked to see women wandering around shower blocks wrapped in nothing but a towel, with no cares in the world. The US does have women in the armed forces, but they aren't always allowed to be on the front line or live in close proximity to their male counterparts. In the UK, on the other hand, women are seen as equals. Revolutionary concept.
Yep.
Despite
And that's
their
a big
surprise at
problem,
the close
bro.
working
Yeah.
and living relationships between
big problem
women
that we
and
have in
men
the
the
UK.
British Army, the US Marines soon realized these women were professional soldiers they needed to take seriously. But could the initial shock be a trump card up the sleeves of the British? Anyway, time to get on to the important stuff. The real factors that determine the success of a military side. Who can handle the most alcohol? It's a contentious topic. The British are known for drinking.
How is that
They
relevant?
could start at a
the
younger
hell?
age, but the US soldiers might give them a run for their money. Around 40% of US soldiers indulge in binge drinking. I know what you're thinking. What does this have to do with the power of their militaries? Although drinking is a skill that might be impressive on a wild night out on the town, it's not a positive thing during combat. It's important for soldiers to keep their mental health stable over extended periods of combat. The soldiers might use alcohol as a way of coping with difficult experiences they encounter during the military instead of talking about them. Over half of British servicemen and women drank at a level that could harm their health in 2018, most likely to self-medicate for a mental health condition such as PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. Similarly, alcohol as a coping mechanism is a huge problem among veterans. Wow, things just got dark. Back to a more lighthearted topic.
See, with that one, I think it's very similar just because of the whole PTSD, like you said. But I don't know how I feel about the percentages because, like we saw the stats earlier, like
Yeah.
what was it, like 100,000 to 1.4 million? So maybe that 50% is only 50,000, but like that 30 or 40 or whatever he was saying is probably like 300,000. So,
Yep.
but
Yep.
I like how he brought that up because a lot of them do get into that because of all their experiences and what they went
Yeah.
through.
But I think it can be a problem though,
Oh yeah,
because
100%. It's
just like what I
definitely.
said, drinking is going to reduce your concentration. And as a soldier, man, you need to be alert. You need to be ready to go at any moment. So if you're indulging in too much alcohol, that could be a way for the enemy to,
Take advantage
to take
for
over.
sure. Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
You can't mention the drinking preferences of the British without mentioning their ultimate beverage of choice, tea. In contrast, the US prefers coffee. Does this affect the combat performance of either side? Time to find out. Many
Does it
British tanks
actually?
and armored vehicles are fitted with water-boiling devices.
What?
Cube-shaped kettles enable the troops to boil water inside the protection of a tank
Shut the
and drink
fuck
tea
up.
to their heart's content. Maybe that's why the British were willing to sacrifice the
They got
sturdiness of
Keurigs
their
in the
vehicles in
tanks for the
Afghanistan.
British. I
This
fuck with
might
that.
seem a bit
Yeah.
eccentric, not to mention pointless, but hear us out. During World War II, a large number of fatalities were caused by crew members having to leave the safety of their tanks when they needed a break. There was only
What?
one reasonable solution: let them make a brew
What?
inside the tank. That way, the troops were
That's
less of a
ridiculous.
target for enemy fire. 10 out of 10
That's
for
kind of a
ingenuity.
cool
Who knows,
concept.
maybe this could be their secret
Yeah.
weapon in a future war. There's nothing like a fresh brew to keep an army going. But don't discount the Americans, because they also seem to recognize the importance of a lovely warm beverage. The U.S. Army aims to ensure coffee is always available to its soldiers, whether in ration packs or at garrisons.
No, but coffee is
Sometimes
good,
there are
Freak.
shortages, so improvisation
Yeah, I like
Coffee is good. You know,
Coffee's
it's got caffeine. It's got caffeine, and caffeine keeps you alert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, actually, I think that's essential. You know, if you're a soldier,
Yeah.
you want your concentration to be at max, and so coffee, you know, is a good way to stay focused.
100%, I agree. I don't know. I think tea has a little bit of caffeine, but I honestly haven't drank tea. But I heard it
No,
tastes like dirt water. Is what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
tea. The thing is, tea for the most part has no benefit unless you drink like green tea.
Mhm.
But like, there's no real benefit with drinking a tea compared to like
Yeah.
coffee. Coffee offers you a lot more benefit. Like, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
comes into play to give the soldiers their daily fix. During the Korean War, some soldiers indulged in sock coffee, coffee filtered using a
What?
sock. Or if the worst comes to worst, they just mix
Bro,
instant
what?
coffee granules with cold water and
Freak,
down it like
what
a shot of
the-
vodka. Lovely.
That's absolutely
It's worth it
disgusting.
to have that caffeine
I hope he
coursing
was
through your
clean.
veins ready for battle. Clearly, both sides
It
have their
doesn't matter,
vices,
even
but
if
I
it's
still
clean,
don't even
still
think.
edge
Yeah,
on this
that's
one, based purely on the fact that they're less likely to drop dead from swallowing some questionable feet fungi.
Yeah.
In this capitalist
Feet
world,
fungi.
soldiers aren't just fighting for their national pride or a noble cause. They also want to receive their paycheck at the end of it all. The draft ended in 1973 after the Vietnam War in the USA, making the Army a professional, career-oriented force. In the British Army, the national service officially ended in 1960, and it transformed into a professional army in 1963. So who gets the fattest check? New recruits in the British Army start on a salary of £15,985 a year in training, soon going up
What?
to $20,400 when
That's
becoming a
low.
private.
Yeah,
After a few
that's-
years, if they can reach the rank of sergeant, the salary
Wait,
will go
Freak,
up to
pause it quick.
$35,850.
Wait, that's low as hell. Fam, you can't survive in London with that salary, bro.
Nah, most definitely not.
The average rent in London is over £1,000. So imagine as a training year, if you're living in the UK training year, you're not gonna survive, bro.
No.
With that much.
food and anything
Yeah.
else necessities you need.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And
it's
even
quite
like
low.
for
It's quite low.
sergeant, I feel like too. It doesn't really make even like the numbers, like how you make 15,000 starting in UK.
Yeah,
Sergeant, you can make
yeah,
up to 15, but it's weird in the US. The recruits start at 10,000 more than the trainers. They like the training when you're training as a recruit. But the
yeah,
sergeant is 29,000, almost 6,000 less than the UK sergeant. That doesn't.
yeah,
I
exactly.
wonder. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
little. It's a little weird.
the numbers are not adding up properly, or like they're not
Yeah,
making sense. Right?
definitely
Yeah,
not.
not
But
making sense.
I wonder what
Mm.
how the people training in the UK survive though. I wonder if there's anyone out there, anybody even.
I'm
There's
guessing maybe most of these guys in the training year, like maybe like they're just teenagers, bro.
Yeah, or in
You
like
know,
in the
maybe it's
dorm, or like they're all sharing a
yeah,
room or something.
yeah, probably. I don't think they're living by themselves because
Yeah,
there's no way you can survive with that much
yeah,
money, bro. It's far too low.
it's crazy.
53 pounds a year.
Yeah.
That's around $46,000. In the U.S. Army, new recruits can expect to earn $24,512 a year as a private first class after initial training. A sergeant earns anything up to $29,610 a year. So we have a clear winner here. Let's hope the Americans don't find out, or they could end up switching sides. With so much money, we hope the British
I'm gonna
soldiers
share this
go
video,
through a
Freak.
half-decent training program. Let's find out
I'm gonna
if
share
that's
it to
the case.
Americans.
In the UK, most soldiers complete a 14-week common military syllabus, followed by specialist
Okay.
training for different trades and divisions. U.S. soldiers train for slightly less time. They complete a 10-week basic
Okay.
combat training course, then complete
Pretty
more
big difference,
career-oriented
4
training.
weeks.
Overall, both
Yep.
countries offer a similar style of training based on fitness, discipline, and weaponry. It's hard to say that one country is definitively superior here, but there is one key difference: the age of the recruits. A U.S. soldier must be 17 to join the forces with parental consent, or 18 without the consent. Meanwhile, Brits can join at the age of 16 if they have
Oh,
parental
wow.
consent, making the UK the only NATO country to recruit young people into its military at age 16. It's a
Bro,
controversial
imagine
policy,
16 years
considering
old, bro,
these
joining the
recruits
army.
must remain in the army until
Not
they're
imagine
22,
that.
and they can't even vote or drink alcohol until they turn 18.
Yeah,
With literal
that is not.
boys among them who might have joined the
Yeah,
forces as a rash
not boys,
decision, could
kids.
British soldiers be flakier and less mature than their US counterparts? Or is their youth just a testament to how tough they are? But this is just the beginning. Average soldiers might make up the bulk of the army, but what about the guys that are really well trained? We're talking about elite special forces. The British Army has the famous SAS, or Special Air Service. Founded during World War II, it's one of the oldest special forces and has the highest entry requirement of all British forces. With the motto, "Who
Yeah, they're
dares
badass.
wins."
SAS.
The SAS is respected and feared across the globe in equal measure. It's heavily involved in reconnaissance and counterterrorism, meaning most of their work is below the radar and people like us can't get too nosy about it. However, they do plenty of cool and hardcore stuff, like rescuing hostages. Not to be outdone, the US Army has the highly respected and admired Delta Force, also known as the 1st Special Forces Operation Detachment. Formed in 1977, it's known as one of the most secretive US forces and specializes in counterterrorism and hostage rescue. Sounding familiar yet? Allegedly, the Delta Force was modeled on the British SAS. We
Makes
want to
sense.
give the Brits
You know,
points
see,
for
this is the
sheer
thing, Freak.
originality.
This is the thing, yeah. The Americans are highly influenced by the Brits, bro. Highly influenced. Because you want to like, prior to like I think the Second World War, prior to that, the UK actually had the best army in the world, bro. The strongest army in the world was the UK. I think they got complacent, and also like, the collapse of the British Empire
Yeah.
definitely a contributing factor. But the UK was like that. It was literally America before America, basically.
hmm
So a lot of American culture, even the army, the way of doing things, man, is highly influenced
Yeah. 100%.
by the Brits. So we can, we
And
can
that's
talk
why
about the
that's
fact
why it's
that
kind of neat to see the like it's kind of like
yeah,
weird, but like other like obviously other countries are just watching each other, seeing what they're doing. And it's cool because like we
yeah,
see it in like little things like for example soccer or sports. We see people elevate the game in different ways, and it's like that in a
yeah,
way, but at a political and like a huge global stage of
mm,
warfare. And like I remember like during like the old wars here in the US, like I remember it originally started where people would just line up across each other, point their
yeah,
guns at each other and just shoot. They wouldn't even take cover, they just point, stand in front of each other
yeah.
and shoot. And now like
That's crazy.
we're here now with the military, but yeah, I didn't even know that. It's kind of crazy to know
Yeah.
that Delta Force was kind of like based off of. I mean, it makes sense because SAS was very successful, but
Yep.
yeah, it's
You
it's
know.
kind of neat.
Yep.
But it's not exactly good news for them if the Americans know the training secrets and operations of their elite forces. That's a rookie error if there ever was one, especially when there are way more US soldiers and they have better equipment. What about the heads of the armies? The US Army serves the government of the USA, making the President of the US Commander-in-Chief. Meanwhile, the British Army serves Her Majesty the Queen as head of the armed forces, who is also their Commander-in-Chief.
Really?
Her Majesty the
Mm-hmm.
Queen
Wait,
I
what?
Elizabeth
know.
Wait, wait,
is
wait, wait.
closely
I
tied to
did
the
not
British
know that,
military.
bro.
You didn't know that?
I did not. I actually thought that was the prime minister's job.
No.
The Queen, to be honest, I just knew like in the UK, I'm freak. The Queen does not really have that much power, or like obviously she's dead now, but like the
Yeah.
King of Prince Charles,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't really have that much power.
Yeah.
Technically, he doesn't call the shots. It's most like the politicians, like the prime minister. So that's why I'm very very surprised by this information.
Yeah.
Very surprised. You know, the Queen, the royal family, they're highly respected, but like they're not really known to like be making decisions like that.
Yeah, like that.
Unless
Yeah.
I'm completely wrong. So
That's why
something
I wonder. I
definitely.
wonder if maybe it's because they fund it in some way, like from the long time ago, like way back hundreds of years. I'm not. Maybe there's a lot more
Y-
history in between. I'm not sure. It's
Yeah, I
gotta
think it's
be.
more like it's just a title, bro. She's commander in chief, but like technically she's not because she's not making the decisions, bro.
Yeah.
She just got the title of commander in chief,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not doing the role or she's not playing the role of a commander in chief
Yeah.
compared to like the president of the United States that actually calls the shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's just there basically. I think she would just offer advice. Maybe like before a decision is made, they will ask her for opinion, but that's it. I
Yeah.
don't think she really makes any important decisions like that.
having been a wife, mother, and even grandmother of individuals serving in the armed forces. During World War II, the Queen, who was then Princess Elizabeth, joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service herself and learned to maintain and drive military vehicles and ambulances.
Oh,
She
damn.
even achieved the rank of Honorary Junior Commander while doing her part
Yeah.
for the war effort. By comparison, the current US president, as of this script's writing, claimed to suffer bone spurs when it was his time to serve his country. Points here for the badass monarch up to her elbow in
Making
Greece, fixing
excuses.
combat vehicles and serving her country. Overall, the British and
But they
American
expect other
armies
people
are
to go out
matched
there
fairly
and
evenly in
serve their
terms of their
country.
training and structure.
But yeah,
It
they
doesn't
they
exactly
don't
come
they
as a
don't know that.
surprise, considering their histories are so closely linked. Realistically, the Americans would likely have the upper hand in any war against the Brits due to sheer manpower and weaponry. But let's hope the two sides can settle their differences over a cup of tea or coffee. Now check out our India and China military
That was
comparison.
a neat video. I really enjoyed that
Yeah,
video. It's cool to see the comparisons. I'm not sure what you want to share what you enjoyed, but
yeah. To be honest with you, freak, this was not really a comparison.
yeah.
America is by far like to put things into perspective. America's army can compete with Europe
Mm-hmm.
with the entire with Europe in its entirety, bro. So it's not really a comparison, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
America can literally take out any country in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah,
Yeah. I liked how they brought up the whole how they have like coffee things in the tanks, and it was the reason why they
yeah,
did that was because when they went on their breaks and would leave on the tanks, they would just get shot. So they were
yeah,
like, why don't we just
yeah,
make a break room in the
yeah. That was
tank?
very
That was neat. I've never
yeah
seen that
that wa-
before.
yeah that was very interesting, and also the coffee as well.
Yeah, how
Coffee
they
is
had it
good.
on stock for everyone.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
that's very important.
Yeah.
I think Russia or China versus the US is more of a comparison.
Yeah,
I think that
100%.
would make for a better comparison video.
Yeah, and that's why it's neat because each country has their own, technology, like you said, technology, gadgets, some are exposed. And I think it is a little bit, I think it's hard to
Yeah,
compare the British soldiers and American soldiers because a lot of them
yeah,
used to be from Britain. Like they all
yeah.
kind of
And the
migrated
thing
over.
is, and the thing is, technically, I think if the UK had the same population as the US, I think it would be very comparable
Yeah,
because
100%.
the UK is not in terms of numbers, it's not very big, but like in terms of quality, is there. They're
Yeah,
well trained. They've got access to great equipment. So I think the reason why the US is so much more superior than the UK is mostly because of numbers,
yeah, and money,
mostly because of numbers
money
and money
and
as well, and
numbers.
money. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, so that was a cool video. That was one of that was a very unique video. I haven't seen a video like that, and that was very interesting to watch. So let me know if you guys like that, and if you guys want to see more of that. We have like a little different perspective, from a US and having a British here in the video, just to get two different perspectives. So hope you guys enjoy that. Let me know if you guys enjoy those type of videos. And like I said in the beginning, I have Bangzo's reaction stuff all down below to go check him out. He's pushing through towards 30,000 subs, so go show him some love. He's grinding. He's always
So
uploading. So if you guys need new videos to watch, go check his stuff out. And thank you guys for
appreciate that, bro.
watching. Yeah, of course. Smash a thumbs up and comment, interact. Let me know what you guys think about this video. And this is Freaked and Bangzo. We're signing out. Peace.